Hi everyone. So I'm working on a new demo for Vampire Syndicate, and I just wanted to show off part of it. Basically, if you're familiar with the old RPG Maker version of the game, not much has changed, with the big exception of the graphics and the perspective. Some news up front. I am planning on making a second crowdfunding attempt through Kickstarter, probably sometime around August. I'm building out this short demo that will serve as a vertical slice of the game, same as the demo I put out last year. I'm not 100% sure that I will complete the demo in time, but I think it's looking good and I'll have something really neat to show you. Anyways, you can tell it's daytime and we are in some kind of abandoned industrial zone. It's actually an old Taggart rail terminal that's fallen into disuse and was taken over by one of the smaller gangs in Moonfall, the Eclipse. Later on in the game, you can repurpose this place as your own hideout. The player who starts the game as a low-level street merc got a job from their broker. It's interesting and mysterious. A well-connected client has asked for us specifically on this job. We're here to steal something. So naturally that means we go through the standard RPG process of handling conflict, violence, stealth, or various methods of subterfuge. The most direct route is usually the most violent, but not necessarily the hardest, depending on how well kitted out you are for combat. This is a party-based game, and combat will shift to an overhead perspective that's similar to if XCOM and Baldur's Gate 3 had a love child. Here we run into some robots guarding the main entrance to the terminal. In Moonfall, robots and drones are called automechanicals, and they're much more advanced than what we have in the real world. These are some older models, and the Eclipse has not done a great job in programming them. They will only shoot you if you approach the entrance too closely. There are other generally easier ways to access the terminal. One thing I want to do, and that I always thought was cool, was to tie your physical stat to actually being able to jump higher, move heavy objects around, maybe even punch holes through thin materials. For example, you can access the terminal building by jumping across the broken catwalk here. A character with low physicality won't be able to make the jump, but high physicality will. If you rather use your charm to get past the guards, you can do that too. In Vampire Syndicate, your wits and ability to influence people are just as important as muscle power, or how good you are with a gun. Charm in the game is governed by a stat called Sanguinity, which is a weird hybrid of what other games would call Constitution and Charisma. We can use it on this NPC over here by the door. She's not part of the Eclipse, but she does know a way past the guards, and she's willing to share the secret, for the proper price or given the right coercion. Of course, Moonfall is a cyberpunk setting, which means hacking doors is basically mandatory. I'm still undecided how I will handle the hacking mechanic, but I'm pretty sure it will be an attribute check plus an item. Speaking of attribute checks, they will probably be flat checks in the demo, mostly because I won't have time to implement dice rolling. In the parody game I'm currently working on, Baldur's Squid Isekai, the checks work on an interesting and completely homemade D6 system, which I'm not sure will work out or not. But that's for the future. I hope this video helps build up some hype for Vampire Syndicate, as I'm putting a lot of work into it. It's my biggest project so far. In fact, when I started game development a decade and a half ago, I had planned on this being my big game. So if it seems like I'm dragging my feet a bit with this project, it's because I want to do it right. Somebody once told me that any serious artist wants to attempt at least one masterpiece in their lifetime. Well, I guess this is my attempt. They show that the future of game development isn't in AAA studios, it's in passionate small developers. Of course, the troll inside of me finds it endlessly funny that I'll be attempting this with a glorified porn game. But that's life. It's anything but reasonable.